Now onto the second problem which Siegfried has prepared for me. White to Play and Win, Sergei Kaminar. It was published in Trude 1935 and it won the second prize. So Siegfried, any history and background information on that?
Well, there is a book by Raphael Kaufmann. It's called Ispranie Etiudi Liburkina e Caminera. That's the selected studies of Liburkin and Caminar. Mm-hmm. And this was one of the studies in the book. I got it like maybe 16, 17 years ago. I don't know from where. But it's a very good book. So I recommend reading it if you can get it somewhere.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is quite an old book, 1935, almost.
No, the book is from 1981, but the studies are very old.
Okay, so the composition is almost 90 years old. Okay, so let's try to solve this problem. The first question is, why can't white just play h7 and h8 queen? Is there anybody stopping that? I mean, okay, if king g7, then h8 queen check because of the knight which is supporting it, so that's not possible. And if black plays something like bishop b2 trying to stop it, king takes b2 simply. So what's black's defensive resource here? So maybe black could try for something, though it seems difficult. But after h7, black could play king takes g6, and after h8 queen, take the advantage of the fact that the knight is pretty badly placed, as two of its squares are supported by the bishop. And so the only square left is knight h3, so we can stop that by g4. But
well, the big issue is that it's a bit slow, so white can do pretty much everything with the queen that he wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like white could just attack these bishops and slowly just wiggle its way out. Maybe even play for h4 soon, and if g takes h3, knight takes h3. So no, that can't be a defensive resource, according to me. So how else can the promotion be stopped? Oh, another idea might be to play bishop g4. Or no, bishop h5. So if h8 queen, then play bishop takes g6 check. And after king a1, bishop e7. Or bishop f8. Wait, which one's better? I think both are the same. And after that, the main gist is to play bishop f6 and just win the queen. And if the queen moves anywhere, then still bishop f6, and that's actually checkmate.
Well,
yep,
it's not a big surprise now, but that's the correct defensive idea.
Mm-hmm. So h7, black will try bishop h5. But what happens if white just plays knight e5 check, let's say? Well, okay, king g6 would be possible, king g7 actually, and winning the h7 pawn.
Yes.
How else? Okay. So I guess h7 is not the best move. But we do understand some of black's ideas, I guess, because black has some threats of just checkmating the white king with something like bishop h5, bishop g6, bishop e7, bishop f6. Checkmate.
Well, the big issue is if black can stop the h-pawn, white has no way to win.
Yeah. And not to forget, the white knight is hanging on g6.
So
yeah.
Just as a small hint, if you give black a tempo, he will play king g8. And then the h-pawn will not be able to promote.
True.
Or obviously king takes g6 if you let the knight stand there.
Of course. I mean, h7 seems like so natural and you have to play that in some ways, but after bishop h5, is there something which is missing?
As you don't have any tempo to lose, that's the correct first move, but now the question is how to continue.
Yeah. Like knight h8 check, black can just play king g7, attacking both, and he'll win both actually, yeah, and that's just going to be lost. Knight e5, again king g7, winning the pawn on h7. I mean, white could play something like knight c4 after that, but this is certainly not going to be winnable or even drawable in some circumstances. Knight e5, king h7. Black has the bishop pair, and the material is equal, so no, that's not going to be possible. So the knight can't escape from its squares. Could it be possible h8 knight? Check.
Well, it could be possible if black wouldn't play king g7 and white has nothing.
No, because like there are so many studies in which there is this under promotion to knight, and after that just winning the game from there on. But I think in this study that does not work, as both these knights are going to be attacked. Bishop takes g6 is coming, and there is nothing which white can do about it.
Yes. So this study is it has an idea that is very difficult to see, but once you see it, you will love it. So the first step is to find the natural moves. What would happen after them? Like, might I give a hint?
I mean, the natural moves are like h8, queen, which does not work because of bishop takes g6, king a1, and bishop e7, threatening bishop f6.
Yeah, but might I give a small hint?
Yeah, sure.
Well, if you continue the variation that you just said.
Okay,
h8
so
queen.
h8 queen, check.
Yes.
King a1.
Then it's actually bishop e7 now.
Yeah.
That would be the black idea.
Why not
And
bishop
then,
f8 though? Is there a
we will get to that in a second.
Okay, so bishop e7.
Because white has a move now that at the first glance seems to parry the threat. And after bishop f8, that move would win, but after bishop e7, it doesn't. So...
is it to play something like knight f3?
Yes.
And after that, play knight e5 check?
Yes. And now, if black is forced to take, obviously white can take with the queen. But black does not have to take.
Yes, he'll play king e7.
And now you have a very big issue because the knight is pinned.
Yeah,
And,
I was going to play knight takes b6, check, oh yay. But actually, the knight is pinned by the bishop on f6.
And you might notice that there is a pawn on c7. That's not by accident, but it prevents queen b8.
Oh, yeah, that is quite smart. Because after queen b8, if this was possible and the c7 pawn was not there, this would actually just defend the knight on e5, get away from all threats, and this would just win. But with the c7 pawn, it just interferes and queen b8 does not defend the knight.
Yes.
Right. So,
but
white has to give up queen takes f6?
Yes, but there's no way now to win for white.
Correct. So, why does bishop f8 lose though? Because after knight f3, bishop g7, knight e5 check.
Yes.
Oh, this time if king e7, queen takes g7 check. That's of course going to be bad. And if king f6, guess what? It's not pinned anymore. And white can just play something like queen d8 check or queen g8. Move away.
Well, personally, I would play queen g8 probably because.
So that after king takes e5, you have the queen takes g7.
Yes.
Great. Okay, that's quite an intricate detail of this variation.
So this is very important information, but
so that's where the knight on g1 comes into play.
There's one little detail that you still have to find.
Oh, in that same variation?
Well, in this position, there is one move that wins for white. But it's really hard to find because in the variation you just saw, it changes something.
Like here, knight f3 again, but bishop g6 now, and then simply bishop takes h7. That's not going to be good at all. So we can't lose that piece. Like white is just out of moves right now. h8 promotion is not possible to any piece. Knight can't move anywhere. This knight e2, f3 or h3, it just does not do much. Because we just lose the h7 pawn. If you move the f2 pawn, so like f4, but even after that, bishop g6, f5, bishop takes f5 simply. And if h4, same thing, bishop g6. And finally the king, well, king c2 I guess, but that doesn't do much. Maybe king e1 though.
Well,
no,
you just get to the same variation.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No, if I might give another small hint.
Yeah.
In an endgame study, you might want to try moves that seem that change something, but you don't know why.
Right.
Like why you would need to change that. But if it's a move that doesn't harm you otherwise, you might want to try it.
Oh, maybe knight f4, attacking h5.
Well, that's one such move. Black would not have much of a choice.
Yeah, I mean if bishop g6, just take. So king g7.
Well, the two knights will win against one bishop.
Yeah, even if it's like 4 versus 3. So e takes f4, h8 queen, bishop g6, and bishop e7.
And now you will notice you are in the same variation, but the pawn g5 is on f4.
And I don't think that changes much though.
Yeah, but well, you have the choice, so you might want to see if it does change something to your advantage.
So knight f3, bishop f6. Maybe instead of knight f3 there's something else. No, that can't be. If this line is knight e5, king here, again knight takes g6 is not possible. It's so tempting to play that, however. And I think after g takes f4, the thing is maybe the h5, this fifth rank opens up for the queen to come, but even if that happens, like queen h5, well, black can just take it. There's nothing much to it anyways. I mean, g takes f4 does not change much. Maybe, so okay, I'll go back to this position.
Oh, no. Let's just have another look, I think.
Okay. So this was it, and then king e7.
If we imagine what else does g takes f4 change? What else does it open?
Oh, queen h4.
Yes, you found it.
And after bishop takes h4, knight takes g6, check. Fork. Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. But it's really hard to solve.
So white willingly gives up a knight first of all, just so that g takes f4 is possible. And after that, willingly gives up the queen. Queen h4, like brilliant. Start from the top. So here, it is evident that white must play h7 to play h8 queen and just win the game. If king g7, then h8 queen still because the knight guards it. But bishop h5 will be played. Another point is that after h8 queen, bishop takes g6, king a1, bishop e7. And now bishop f6 check is threatened. Knight f3, bishop f6, knight e5 check, counter check. But then king e7, and now sadly knight takes g6 is not possible because it is pinned. So,
and also the queen has no way to defend the knight.
Yeah, like Siegfried was pointing a very interesting nuance that if the c7 pawn was not there, then queen b8 would just defend the knight, get the queen out of h8 and out of the bishop's attack, and this would just be a win for white. But once the pawn on c7 is there, it is interfered and the knight on e5 is no longer defended. But now the correct answer is something just brilliant and mind-boggling, because playing knight f4, what's the point, you may ask? Well, after e takes f4, h8 queen, bishop g6 check, king a1, and now black will play bishop e7. You might think, oh, we're in the same position, right? Well, actually there is a small detail change. The g5 pawn is now on f4. But what does it change? Well, let's find out. Knight f3, bishop f6, knight to e5, and now a very important thing, after king e7, white can play queen h4, pinning the bishop itself. And so bishop takes e5 is not possible. So many pins. The knight on e5 is pinned, the bishop on f6 is pinned, the queen is hanging, the bishop's hanging, everything's a mess almost. But after bishop takes h4, knight takes g6, and forked by the knight. And after the king moves, knight takes h4, And this is of course going to be an easy win, as white has a distant +1 and 3 versus 4 plus a knight, so he's just up in material. So, wow, Siegfried, a brilliant problem prepared by you.
But difficult.
Yeah, very difficult to solve. So yeah, that's it for the second video, the second composition.